Are you ready, kids? I forgot my notes downstairs. Woo, too late. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Gaiden, the anime side story. You're here with myself, Steven,
Soil.
and we're going to be talking about Attack on Titan today. Now, before we get into Attack on Titan, we're going to give you a little update of what we watched throughout the week. And I do want to give a little warning in advance. As per always, there will be spoilers. We are talking about the entirety of Attack on Titan, not one season or an episode or anything like that. So if you haven't watched it, just be aware that some stuff might come up.
Let's be real, though. You probably should have watched it by now.
I mean, I didn't, so...
That's your fault.
Well, we'll see. I'll have some opinions that I know there's a pretty wild Attack on Titan fan base that's quite passionate. Sorry.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, but
yeah, I mean,
dive into it and find out where it ranks.
Well, before that, let's talk about what we watched over the week. So I just today caught up on Solo Leveling's newest episode. I don't know if you have yet.
No, I'm waiting for the whole season to finish, but I've read it, so
yeah,
I'm away.
So it kind of ended exactly where I thought. They're on the Jeju Island arc. It's going great. I love what's happening with it. I recently upgraded my TV to have some backlights and with the OLED and everything. So it's
I've seen the
really
TV, but I haven't seen it backlit.
Oh, it's so... I'll show you when we're done this. It's so sick when you're watching like some of the fight scenes in Solo Leveling because you get the really, really popping color from the OLED TV. And then you also have the backlights that are matching it. It's so cool.
So it's synced with your TV?
Yeah, so it syncs with the TV. So it's so cool. It's so cool.
How do you do that?
It's just lights, man.
You got to plug it into the TV itself?
No, you stick the back, the string lights to the back of the TV, and there's a little camera that watches your TV. And then it'll adjust to it. Cool. And then if you don't have the camera and you're using any of the other lights, it'll adjust the sound. So for music and stuff, I'm going to pimp my living room out. Don't worry, I got plans.
Dude, your baby's going to have a blast in his ear.
Oh, please, not epileptic. Anyway. All I'm saying is I'm not getting rid of my pimped out TV.
Baby's going first. Sorry, Christina. TV's got to stay.
But yeah, all in, I think Solo Leveling's doing great. I'm totally blanking at the moment on some other things I watched, but obviously I caught up on Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Just for those who don't know, I was somewhere around episode 40, 43. I had kind of just stopped following along for a long time. We'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so I caught up on that.
And for me, I'll be honest, I haven't watched any anime this week. I've caught up on some mangas and manhwas, so I caught up on Solo Leveling Ragnarok. What else? Kengan Omega, caught up with that manga. Crazy. You need to get into that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into it. I will. And no, I really like the Kengan series anyway, so I'm sure I love the manga.
There's another one that's escaping me right now, but
I have been watching Dr. Stone. I've been keeping up with it.
I started it a while ago, wasn't feeling it for the first couple episodes, so I just didn't.
Yeah, it's a love-hate, but honestly, as far as just kind of a chill kind of watch in the background, it's one of my more enjoyed background anime right now that I kind of put on when I'm doing something else or when I just kind of want to relax and everything.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy it for that. I know, there's varied opinions on it, but I enjoy it for what it is. And I think that's important, and I think that's part of what we're trying to do here with trying different genres and stuff like that, really being able to take it and be like, okay, well, it might not all be action-packed, exciting, adventurous shonen, all, you know what I mean? No, a lot of times it is just a slice of life kind of thing, and I think that's kind of where Dr. Stone sits for me.
I feel like there's definitely a few animes like that. Is it going to be in your top 10? No. But did you enjoy watching it? Yeah. There's some enjoyable stuff out there, not even just the manga, with everything.
I will say that I have been watching two that I'm not really a fan of, but I get as a background anime. I ran out of things that I wanted to watch for a minute. Specifically one day, and I was just too tired to care. So I put on two new, not even isekai, just I don't even know what genre they're in, to be honest. It's just one of the more simple fantasy series, and they're not great at all. But I mean, they're in the background. I got a problem with I started it, so I'll finish at least this season. It's whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's just kind of something to give me some background noise and stuff and watch it. But what is it? They're so long in the titles, man. It's the one I have. Even though I have the weakest skill appraiser, I still became the strongest, or something like that.
Dude, those titles get...
Yeah, I know.
You can't just make a 3-word title, Attack on Titan.
That one, I don't.
One word each.
that one I don't mind. Like, I feel like I might grow to like that one a little bit. Still for what it is, like a background. I'm never gonna be like super into it or anything, but I think that one might grow me. The other one is Fruit Master. It's like, again, it's a long thing where it's like I got the weakest skill, Fruit Master. And then but I don't know. It's very similar. Like the premise, everything about it is very similar. They were just like things Crunchyroll was spotlighting, and I was like, whatever, sure, let's toss it on. Yes, I've been watching those too.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll have to check some of those out. Yeah, I feel like this week I just haven't had much free time to watch anything. So
I feel that.
I actually, that's a lie. I've been watching other stuff that's not anime that I've been really getting into, but that's another podcast we'll probably start up. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know if these guys can see that. I spent all weekend helping out with a course called Exercise Therapy Association. For those who don't know, both Sahil and I are personal trainers with our main day job. So, yeah, I was helping out these guys all weekend. So I'm going to be going from a busy week into a busy weekend into a busy week. So that'll be crazy.
Yeah, I'm hoping I have more time coming this week, so I'll definitely tackle some more animes the following week for our next podcast. We have a little more to talk about. Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, so first, let's talk about our snack of the week. So we just went to the store, and while we were there looking for a snack, we ran into our sweet, lovely Ocean Bombs, which I'm sure many people are familiar with. But we found Attack on Titan ones, so it fit perfectly with what we were going to review today. Now, I've had Ocean Bomb quite a few times. You might even see. No, we took them down. Anyway, I have a bunch of the different anime and stuff I like here. Sahil has never actually tried.
I have a can, and I just haven't opened it.
So mine is Eren Jaeger. It is apple pineapple flavor.
And mine's Levi's.
So this
honey.
Just honey flavor.
It's honey flavor.
Because Levi, that's what he screams, right?
Yeah, honey.
Smooth honey.
I was going to call Levi honey all day.
He's just so sweet. He's just so sweet.
And he'll carve you up to pieces right after.
So this is not the snack we're trying, but I did want to like spotlight it a little bit just because I thought it was fun that we found the matching anime ones by fluke.
And Ocean Bomb, if you want to sponsor us.
Bro, I don't care how sweet it is. Give me all of it. Some of them are delicious. Like the green apple ones are amazing.
And now we have our snack. The Lay's.
Yeah, Lay's. Hot and sour lemon braised chicken feet flavor. I'm assuming this is 50% less sodium. No idea.
Why are you assuming that?
I don't know. Like chips are like salt. And it's
you're trying to read.
Well, I'm not trying to read it. I can't. I cannot read that. It's not gonna happen. But I mean, it's chips. It's advertising 50% less something. I'm gonna guess salt. All right. How much salt is it now? I need to know. Sodium 350 milligrams per 50 grams. And this is a 70-gram pack. It bothers me when they do that. Like 50. Oh, we're basing off 50 grams. I'm like, it's not even a multiple of 50. Like, just like it's 70 grams.
So that's 350 milligrams. Imagine if it was 50% more sodium.
But I don't even know if it's sodium.
Well, we'll assume.
Fun fact, if you know how much sodium is usually in 50 grams of chips, please let us know.
Yeah. Because
I don't want to look it up. But, yeah, we're going to try this. So let's just crack it open. Sahil, it's your favorite color. So you can... Oh, whoa, that's like... We should have brought napkins. That's so oily.
Dang,
like,
dog.
I don't know if you can see that. That's like super...
Am I doing dirty enough? I can just use them as a napkin. There's already stains on them.
Yeah, I'm wearing... I mean, it's a podcast. No one can see what I'm wearing.
I won't tell you what color the stains are, but...
There's jokes on everyone. I'm not even wearing pants. Sorry, Sahil. Or
I start calling you honey?
Or
honey Levi?
It's just... Oh, okay. It smelled good, and then I got a good whiff inside, and it did not smell as good. I thought this guy just goes into like investigate the shit first. Not bad, actually. A little weird.
The initial taste I didn't like, but now that I'm chewing on it, I'm liking it a little more.
Yeah, I'll have another one. I gotta. It's not bad. There's some like subtle flavor to it that I'm not a huge fan of.
Duck feet.
Yeah, chicken feet, bro.
Chicken feet, right?
Yeah.
It's similar to an all dressed chip.
It's like the lingering aftertaste. I'm not a huge, you know what I mean?
See, I'm the opposite. I like the aftertaste more than the initial taste.
You think it's the seasoning, maybe? I don't know, man.
It has to be the seasoning.
I'm gonna wash that shit down. It was something I know I'm gonna love. A little tall glass of water. I like to call Eren Jaeger.
It's a very strong taste. Oh, I'm impartial. I don't think I can have a lot of those, to be honest with you.
Oh shit, sorry. I already Yamas. This is probably the most subtly flavored ocean bomb I've ever had, and I was not expecting that.
Obviously, the apple is all taste.
Because the apple, well, the lavender ones, honey, like they usually are, but like the fruity ones are usually like bam, right in your face, fruity flavor. This is like just. This one is like it's good, but like it's good, but it's gentle, and I'm kind of here for it. Kind of just like pineapple coconut though, not apple.
I feel like my taste buds are off right now.
Yeah, not quite the palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Grab a sip of water and try it.
I've been sipping water all day.
No, yeah, I was fine. I was good. I'm getting it out the way it is.
I taste the honey. Yeah, it tastes like a sparkling, like the old tea with honey in it, but with
tea
with sparkling water.
Yeah, not my favorite. My favorite is still the green apple. That one's fire.
Yeah, green
But,
apples. Yeah, like I would drink this again.
Never mind. You guys are right if you want.
No, here, try mine. Oh, you drank a lot of this. Holy,
Yeah, bro, I drink so fast.
you're just a guzzler.
Yours is much. We don't need to talk about my guzzling now. You all know I'm good at debating, but I'm also a master guzzler. Anyway,
Hence why he's not wearing pants.
yeah, this one's pretty good, right?
Mhm.
Like it's good. It's
I like that one more.
this one's a little too plain.
Yeah. The chips.
You hear that, Levi? Too plain. I'm kidding. I like Levi.
Yeah, Levi's.
Everyone likes Levi.
The chips.
If you don't like Levi, stop listening.
See, like with the chips, I can have a small piece. I
No, I
can't do a big piece of it.
Like I don't mind them, but I don't like them.
Like if
Like I'm gonna give the snack like a 4.
like if I was stoned and really hungry, yeah, I can eat that. But
Like if a 1 is again, I'm gonna throw up in your face, and a 10 is like I just made a mess of things that need guzzled. No, I'm kidding. Then like this would be a 4 because a 5 is like okay, it's all right. I don't mind it. Like the chocolate pies were kind of like a 5 for me.
I like the chocolate pie.
This is I do too. This is like a step below the chocolate.
This might be a 3 out of 10 for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
Maybe a 4. Let's
Yeah.
give it a 4. I'll be a little nice today.
but
chocolate pies more.
I would give this like a 6.5 for the Aaron Yeager apple pineapple ocean bomb. Like
I actually
it's
really like
cool.
yours. I would give it more like a 7 or 8. I could drink that on a regular basis. This one, there's nothing to it. It's another 3.
Poor Levi.
Yeah, I got the shit. And
Okay. Let's get to what we're here for. Attack on Titan. We're gonna break this up a little bit. We're gonna go into a pre-time skip, then we're gonna take a little break with our 2 frames per second, and then our post-time skip. And our 2 frames per second today is a bit of an interesting little spin on that. So look forward to that. Or get ready to hate me.
Yeah.
One or the other.
So Steven never watched Attack on Titan. Oh, I think you said you watched it for first 40-ish episodes.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I didn't rewatch the first like 40 episodes.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure I ended up episode like anywhere from 43 to 47 the first time I watched it. My history didn't save. So I just kind of went back to I think it was like episode 38 or whatever the start of season 3 was, and I just watched from there because I didn't have a lot of time to watch all of it, to be honest. So but I also remember the first half pretty well. So I might be missing some of the finer details, but like I had the general gist of it, and I've had the conversation with lots of people before, so I'm pretty solid on it. Yeah, correct me if I get something wrong though. So I guess for me it's a bit different because I'm going to be talking about like essentially why I didn't keep up with Attack on Titan.
Let's hear it. I'm ready. We might not be friends after this.
So yeah, I have some very unpopular opinions about Attack on Titan. I'm not like a hater. I want to clarify that from the start. I'm definitely not a hater of it.
Not like Tara from Buffy.
Oh, yeah. There's someone else's YouTube channel you can check out if you want to see all those comments. Anyway, again, I love Buffy. Fun facts.
Same.
For anyone who did watch that and decided to comment thinking I've never seen Buffy, even though at the start of the video I say I've watched it like 6 times. And we're reviewing like my favorite episode of all of Buffy. But for those of you like Tara, she sucks. She's boring.
She is the worst.
She's basically a 90s token lesbian because that's when that started becoming a thing in TV. Like, anyway.
Her death. Well, now we're just going off topic.
That's okay. What were you going to say?
I feel like her death definitely created a better story path for Willow, too.
Oh, 100%. And Willow's a cool character.
Yeah,
Willow's awesome.
Willow going dark after
that.
I was like, yo, that's sick. Which like completely
was
the dudes
so
that rip the
cool.
skin off the.
Yeah, that was so cool. Tara sucks ass. Like, sorry, Tara's
I
terrible.
might like that though.
Okay. So back to Attack on Titan. Um, so the first couple episodes, I watched Attack on Titan as it was coming out, right? And I remember I never even heard of it. I just like saw it at on streaming, and I was like, okay, let's check this out. And I really liked it. The first two episodes really had me going, and then I very quickly stopped becoming interested in it. And it's not that I didn't like it. There's like I can't really say there's something specific that pulled me out of it. I just never got hooked.
Okay.
Um, and when I never got hooked, I kept watching because, like I said, I usually finish things, which is why it's surprising that I didn't finish it. I probably would have finished Attack on Titan just for that reason alone if it wasn't so spaced out. But because it was so spaced out, by the time the next season came out, I'm like, nah, I don't have the patience. Like, I'm not gonna go back to it. I don't care. Um, but the first couple episodes were very interesting, and then it just kind of became somewhere between anticlimactic and trauma porn for me. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of one note. The one note is hype, but it stays there the whole time.
Were you saying it stays hyped up throughout the whole?
Not the whole thing. Like, there is definitely, especially pre-time skip, there's definitely a fair bit that's like lower level, but it's just they so frequently go to like the max level of like intensity that it just kind of becomes flat for me. If that makes sense. I don't know. Like they're trying to be like a very intelligent anime in a lot of ways. They're trying to have like very philosophical discussions, and I just didn't find that it made me think ever.
Okay.
Like ever. Like if you asked me like at the beginning, there's no way from episode 1 you knew that like the wall was going to be made of the Titans. You're right. But by the time they brought it up, you did.
Yeah,
Like it was foreshadowing
Yeah.
too much. It was too obvious. So like I don't know if it was because it never hooked me or because it was just the foreshadowing was too obvious. But none of the like twists actually caught me. Like any of them.
Okay, that's fair.
So like it felt like it was trying to be smart, but like it was giving it away too early, like before it should have. And that like it gave the audience too much. It was too easy to figure out. So that kind of killed it for me. I don't know. Again, I just didn't really get the hype. It was kind of also around the time where everyone was like going off about Game of Thrones and like how, oh my god, they actually killed characters, and then kind of everything was doing that at the same time too, which is maybe where I'm getting like that whole trauma porn aspect of it, where it's just like
fatigue at that point. Like, come on, like I'd rather make them just live for a little bit.
I honestly don't care if the character lives or dies. I just want it to be enjoyable. And it just they never made me love a character before killing the character off. Not really.
Well,
there's like a couple exceptions.
Yeah.
But usually they'd make me love a character like right before the character died, and I'm like, that shit's so like.
But I feel like with Attack over Alien, like they never really killed off characters. At least in the start, they never really killed off characters that had a big impact.
That's what I mean. But that's why it's like you're just killing people. But then it sets the tone. It sets the tone that you're gonna kill people.
Yeah.
So then when you kill people that do matter, you're like, whatever. Like I knew they were gonna die eventually. Everyone's fucking dying.
True. Yeah, no, for sure. But I feel like we'll get into the after the time skip later, but there's definitely some deaths that happen later where you're just like, it was frustrating. Well, but no, I like the character development though of Eren, Mikasa, and Armin.
So I like that more in the post time skip stuff, and we'll talk about the post time skip stuff for sure. I don't think there was a whole lot of character development of them in the pre time skip stuff, to be honest. Like you had Eren kind of just being like Mikasa and stuff. She definitely just stayed the same the whole time.
Yeah,
like she was just like, I love Eren, I must protect Eren.
Yeah, I guess
but she's cool. Don't get me wrong, but like that was.
I guess I'm more so referring to their relationship, not their past.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because again, like this starts off with them younger,
and then it's kind of like a little following Eren at first.
Yeah,
and then they kind of spread out and do their own
thing. And then get older, obviously, with the training. And then you see how they like obviously Mikasa, like you said, is pretty much the same. Eren chills out a little bit. It's not like
he's not as screamy.
Yeah, he's not like Asta who just keeps that safe going forever. And then Armin's just. I like Armin, but at the same time, sometimes he's a little too whiny.
Oh, he's super whiny. I
like as a whole
stuff, but
I like the relationship as a whole. But like individually, yeah, I could see some lacking there.
Yeah, I just think it was for me, and on the philosophical stuff, like there are like if you want it to be shocking, and you wanted to get people talking about like tricky, hard philosophical discussions, there are so many anime that do it well. Like it can be done. Perfect example of I can think of something that does like is super, super shocking. It's gory, it's violent, huge on making you think philosophically. Like Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul does it so well.
My favorite.
And
One of my
it's so gory, it's
Yeah.
so violent, it's so again philosophical. Like it's one that afterwards you're like, holy shit, I could have a whole conversation without even talking about the show, just talking about the topic that the show is talking about.
But I feel like Tokyo Ghoul also, like, similar to Attack on Titan, they'll kill people off, but they're not killing your main characters off.
And again, I don't care who they kill, or I just care like if it makes sense.
For sure.
Like again, Attack on Titan was killing so many people so frequently that it's like by the time you're killing people who matter for a, let's say a good story reason, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm just used to everyone dying. I just expect it.
I feel like how they're killing people off in Attack on Titan, it was kind of more so shedding light on the other Titans. Like, what was the Attack on Titan?
The Attack Titan?
Yeah, what was his name again?
Which one?
Oh, no, not
I was gonna say the Attack
Aaron.
Titan is Aaron. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm terrible with names. This is something I gotta get better at.
Shoot,
And I forgot to write them down this time. Like last time I wrote them down. Yeah, just pull up the my anime list. It'll have all of the stuff there. So Bartholomew, by the way, or the B name is the Colossus Titan.
yes.
But anyway,
Reiner,
yes.
That's such a bad
Reiner is the Armor Titan.
Yeah.
So
Because, like, always,
I liked his character development.
I think he was my favorite character.
He was pretty interesting. I'll give you that. I think Levi was very interesting and just a badass in general. Like he was kind of boring until you found out his backstory. They did that stuff really well. That was super interesting.
And I guess they did drop a manga recently going more into his past.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
I haven't read it yet, but
I mean, obviously I didn't because I just caught up on a lot on the anime. But I think that's where it sits for me. Is I don't know. It just fell flat for me. A lot of what it was trying to do. Like again, you use a Tokyo Ghoul, you can use like a Kogias, you can use it in all these like other like heavy thinking philosophical animes, ones that are trying to be smart, they're trying to catch you off guard. Most popular probably Death Note. Ones that are like full of death and full of this and full of this. They're huge topics of this like philosophy and discussion. It's trying to make you think. There's so many that do it so well that this one just didn't for me, and it just fell flat. Like, yeah, you have all the ties, especially with the post time skip stuff. You have all the ties to like World War II Holocaust stuff. Realistically, you have ties to like, England sending prisoners to and thieves and stuff to Australia to just let them, hopefully die out and things like that. But I don't know. Like, I feel like by the time they started really getting into that stuff, they just had so much happening nonstop that didn't really give you a chance to actually even think about it or care that much about it.
On that note, one thing I didn't really like is how they mentioned Aaron's dad's basement.
Okay.
And having to go there. But then they kind of went away from it
For
a little bit.
so long.
And then it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I totally forgot about that. So if you see, I definitely see what you're talking about. They definitely space things out a little.
You know what? Maybe that was it. Maybe it was that they spent so much time setting up all of these questions and trying to be mysterious.
Yeah.
It was like a combination of like spending way too much time and effort trying to be mysterious, not actually doing anything with it, but then at the same time dropping way too many hints early on, so that way by the time a twist could have happened, you already kind of knew it was going to happen, or you were ready for something like that to happen. And then when you finally did get your answers, it was kind of like all at once.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, like done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I guess like comparing it to like One Piece, for example, One Piece will also set up things moving forward. But
talk about something dropping a lot close together, though.
Yeah, but
that's a really good example.
One thing One Piece did well is
they set up for years.
But at the same time, you didn't.
It was peppered out for a long time. Like you forget about it, and you're like, oh yeah.
And I feel like they had a lot of good stuff going on in between to like keep you entertained still.
I think
where the Attack on Titan, where it's like, just again, it's not as fast paced as One Piece, so you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? But then you watch 3 episodes, like they still haven't done anything.
I think the difference is the overarching goal. Like One Piece, they have a goal, but there's adventures along the way.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it was like they have a goal, and that's kind of all it is. and they don't really deviate from it too much, and it's just like that's the whole show. Whereas One Piece, like again, we're talking about like the history of the Void Centuries. So much stuff is dropping about that right now. That's not what the show's been about. Like,
No.
none of the arcs are about the history of the Void Century. The arc is about
the
something
adventure.
else, and you just find out about the Void Century, right? Like they slowly take steps to their individual goals while they're just kind of like floating along.
What did you think of just like the action scenes, like all the fight scenes?
So they were cool. Animation was incredible. Obviously, you know, it's not brand new, and we like the movie's coming out and stuff, so we'll see how they animate that too. I'm sure we'll do a review on that. But I mean, Mappa, like it was good.
Yeah.
Well,
Mappa didn't do the first 3.
No, they did the last.
It was Wit.
And I know a lot of people shit on Mappa for the 4th season actually, but I didn't think it was that bad.
I think it's different from what we're used to, and that's why people were upset. Like,
Yeah.
overall, it was good, but you're used to Wit's animation style, then you're a whole different animation style for this season 4. So I don't know. See why I wasn't a fan at first, but like I grew to like it.
A lot of the ways they used animation in terms of the what is it, omnidirectional something, the gear. Anyway, their gear, to like fly around, move around. Like there was a lot of cool fight scenes using that. That was really well utilized. Levi's stuff was really cool, but I feel like they also got lazy with it at a certain point, and they were just like, here's 5 million cuts all at once because they didn't want to have to animate Levi. That would have been like slipping around stuff. And I totally get that, but like
and you hear all this stuff with Mappa, even with like Jujutsu Kaisen and
yeah,
overworking their employees and everything like that. So like I could forgive that. Like
there was a lot of that. Like I think the fight for Wall Maria is everyone's favorite. So before we go too far to that, we should probably do our break because I think that'll kind of just naturally, very quickly segue into the fourth season. But I would say in terms of that, I like the action scenes. They were good. At a certain point, they did become pretty freaking repetitive and kind of lazy, I think. But they were cool. It's just, again, how much can you actually do with what they're doing? Like, there's only so many things you could do.
Kind of going back a little, I think it was like the first, like it was either the first episode or second episode, the one where Aaron gets like eaten, or his hand gets chopped off when he's trying to save Armin.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, like, is Aaron going to die or whatever? And then, like, it's so early on that you're not actually thinking that.
Yeah, like, there's no way.
Something's going to happen. Like, there's no way you're killing off the main character that quickly.
Yeah, Zoe Shanks.
There are definitely things like that where it's like, man, whatever. But
yeah, I just feel like they did too much without the proper buy-in. Like, they didn't do the proper work to make me care enough about things to really get the payoff of the bigger things happening, right? And that would be a good example. Like, honestly, I don't think there is a character in that show that I'm like, I love you. Like, you're an amazing character. I'm like full in on you. There are cool characters. Like, Levi's cool. I'd argue Aaron got very interesting. I think Armin's character arc was really good. And really, I think Reiner. I think Reiner's character arc was good.
My favorite.
I was gonna say, I would say he was probably the closest to growing on me by the very end of things. But at the end of the day, I don't think personally I didn't feel really attached to anything in terms of the characters, and maybe that's why it didn't hit. I think there's a lot of reasons. I don't know, everything just kind of fell flat for me. Like, it got close. I can see why people like it, but at the same time, I just don't feel it.
Do you think a part of that's because you watched it all in one go? Do you think if you...
Well, I didn't originally. Like, the first half of it, that kind of like pulled me out of it to begin with.
All right.
Like, I watched that as it came out. Right?
Like, I would say because I watched it since pretty much the first... Well, I did take a little break, but, over the span of a few years, I watched it. So I think that's where the attachment grew for me, where if I was to watch the whole series in like a week or 2 weeks, I feel like in that situation,
you don't have bundling over with
yeah.
So I watched the majority of it originally. Like, I watched more than half of it, right? Because I watched like 2.5 seasons as it came out.
Yeah.
So over the course of years. Before I kind of like completely fell off the wagon with it.
So it
was really only the last season and a half that
I wasn't watching it week to week. I would wait for the season to drop, watch the whole season. That's what I typically do for most things I watch. I can't stand waiting a week, man.
It's hit or miss for me. It depends on what it is or what I got going on.
Like, that's why I started reading manga, because I got impatient with animes and I wanted to know what happened right away, so I started reading it, which then led to me just reading things in general now.
Yeah, so to put it in perspective, I watched almost the entire like pre-time skip stuff as it came out.
Yeah.
Almost the entirety of it, right? Because that's, if I'm correct, that's all like season.
Yeah, and then you binge the
basically season 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we go into that, let's go into 2 frames per second.
All right.
So I'm gonna start this off. I don't know what people are gonna think. I actually have no idea what the fan base is gonna think about this one, but my 2 frames per second is not super specific, but it is from Attack on Titan. So overall, animation fantastic. I don't really have a problem with any of the animation specifically, although I know there are some things that people point out, again, especially with the map of Takeover in 4.
But it's so minor compared to some other animes out there.
Yeah, it's not crazy. It's not like the ones we shared last week would. So for me, it's just the Cart Titan. I hated the design of the Cart Titan. I'm honestly that kind of like grotesque art style for some of the monsters and stuff. Again, I wasn't really a fan of the style of a lot of especially the basic Titans. Like, I get it; it's just supposed to be giant, grotesque, man-eating cannibal things. Like, whatever. Like, that's fine. I never really cared for the art style, but the Card Titan just took it to another level for me. And I'm like, what? You're supposed to be one of the big guys, and like you know what? Actually, it just reminds me of a giant version. Shit, what's its name? The girl who gets turned into a dog girl, like a chimera in Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah, early on.
I forget her name. Yeah, that's a huge thing. That's
where he like joins up the dog and his dog.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but anyway, it was like you all know what I'm talking about. Like, it was such a good part in Full Metal.
Yeah, and it kind of like makes your stomach turn a little.
Yeah, so it kind of just looked like a really big, less hairy version of that.
Yeah,
but like lazy.
Or like in Jujutsu Kaisen, where there's that one kid in the first season who gets turned into the demon or whatever. No,
I don't remember which person.
Mojito. Sure, no one.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. But that's Jujutsu Kaisen's another one where it's like, again, when they just try to go into like more grotesque demon style. I'm just not here for that art style. I know lots of people love it. It's just not my thing.
I think it works for some, but then they overdo it with others.
Yeah, I think very often it gets overdone in my opinion, and I also think sometimes it almost just seems like an excuse for like lazy artistry.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like what we were talking about with Daima, how the designs there were just very lazy.
Yeah, a couple exceptions. There was a couple exceptions that I really liked.
Yeah, like Borio was probably the only favorite.
No, I liked, I didn't mind Neva, but again, Piccolo, he's basically just an Namekian.
Yeah, Neva just looked like another Namekian.
And then what's the doctor? The doctor's name. I like this, like Aransu, Dr. Aransu. I thought her design was kind of cool. It wasn't like weirdly over-sexualized like every other.
Like they were also like the enemies, like, well, not Majin Buu and Ku weren't enemies, but like
that was lazy.
Who was the main bad?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's bad when
they're kind of comparing. I like Jiren.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, it's essentially the same color scheme as Jiren, but he just looks dumb.
Yeah.
Not a first iteration of the Jaw Titan. Was it Ymir? Who was the chick?
Was it, or was it with an A? I don't remember, man. But anyway, I know the one you're talking about. The second one looked kind of cool.
Yeah, the second Jaw Titan and the after the time skip was so super sick. It had like that face mask and everything. It looked like a unique Titan, where the first one just looked like your average Titan, but like shorter.
Which is kind of what the Card Titan lies too.
Yeah,
it's just like you just have a regular Titan on 4 legs with a weird face.
And it's smaller and not even as strong, and I don't know. And like obviously it had more, like you saw the benefits of the Jaw Titan later on, like pretty sick, but the design is kind of lazy.
Well, the other thing is, it almost seemed like the writing forgot that, like, didn't really plan for the Jaw Titan to be all that powerful, because then later you get into the idea of like, it's whoever, like, the power of that iteration of the Titan also depends on who is the Titan.
Yeah.
Who becomes the Titan and different things like that. So it seems like, I don't know if that part was fully planned out when the Jaw Titan was fully introduced.
Especially when you compare it to like the Armored Titan, the Attack Titan, the Female Titan. Like all of them have a unique design that look cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, does the Attack Titan though?
Like that looks different. It looks like slightly different. The facial structure.
I'm just opening my window. It's hot in here.
It's like, where's it going? I guess it's just me today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought the Attack Titan, like, you know, it's a little more a muscular build to it.
Yeah, like
the face, the hair.
Yeah, they give it a little bit more characteristics, but overall, it's just like long hair and still just.
Obviously, the sickest looking would be the Armored Titan.
Armored Titan looks sick. Colossal Titan's very different.
Colossal Titan's cool, and then in the 4th season, the
Beast Titan was very different.
I was the Beast Titan, but I was thinking,
The female Titan's kind of cool too, to be honest.
what was the one with the hammer?
Oh, the Warhammer Titan?
War-
That just seems so completely different. I was like, what the fuck?
What is this? But I'm like, I'm with it. I like it.
That was.
But then it gets defeated so quick. Oh.
Okay, I guess we're going right into part 4. I did like how he got the Armor Titan, sorry, the Warhammer Titan out of the shell
Yeah,
using the Jaw Titan.
that was so sick.
Like, that was cool. That was scarring. That was fucking cool.
That was like the oh shit kind of moment.
Yeah. So, okay, fight for Wall Mario. Let's backtrack to that because that's gonna go straight into the post time skip. So, oh shit, what was his name? The commanders. I'm really bad with names.
Probably should have written the names down.
Yeah, we got to do this next time. Anyway, when the commander did his whole speech that everyone loves and stuff. Yeah, it was a great speech. And then everyone rides away. And then, like, that part was good. Probably would have been greater for me if I had fallen in love with any of the characters, but true. It was good.
I think the coolest part about that was how it was really just a diversion for Levi to come in from behind.
Yeah, and I think Levi's reaction to that was really cool. I think that was done really well. That was really, really cool. I also like that they let the Beast Titan get away in that, or like they planned for the Beast Titan to get away with that. That was cool. I think that was a good choice.
Well, it built up the whole rivalry between the Beast Titan and Levi.
Yeah, which I feel like didn't really get a chance to pan out. Like, I feel like they cheated out of that one.
They prolonged it to a point where it never actually found a proper end. By the end,
it was such a small side story
Yeah.
compared to all the other huge things that were happening.
yeah,
It was
because
kinda-
by at the point where he had the final battle, like Beast Titan was already pretty much defeated.
yeah, even in the post time skip, like when we're talking about those two, when he had to watch, was it
Huh?
Zach? It was Zeke. When he had to watch Zeke, like you could see that they were slowly getting a weird little bond going, but like that never even got a chance to fully like bear fruit or anything like that. I don't know. It all felt like it never really got a chance to do what it needed to do or wanted to do. So I mean, it is what it is. So here's where Sahil, I know I mentioned this to you briefly, and you were not happy with my comment. I know, correct me if I'm wrong, most people's opinion is like the fight for Wall Mario is like the best part, like the peak of Attack on Titan, right? Not for me.
What was the peak for you?
Like, it was good, it was entertaining, and it was better than the stuff before it. I actually liked the start of the post time skip stuff the most.
Like leading up to the
I would say leading up until the very end.
where they destroyed it with the Colossal Titan.
Yeah, basically leading up to the release of the Colossal Titans.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best part for me. I will say the stupid, like, little kids were kind of annoying.
So I did like that part a lot. It's not that I didn't like the after the time skip. There were definitely like that part was super sick. Like we're talking about the Warhammer Titan.
Mm-hmm.
And like at that point, Aaron was Aaron. You didn't really know what to expect. So I was like, oh, like what's going on here with Aaron? He's obviously older, longer hair. Like it kind of creates this mystery. And I'm moving forward. Like, okay, what's going on here?
Exactly. It made you think. And
Yeah.
that's why I like
I do like those aspects. I think there's the little things like you were just saying with the kids, like
they were
Gabby.
annoying. Oh, Gobby.
Gabby, I cannot stand her.
Gobby was Gabby, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Gobby was Asta. Like, just wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and then when she killed Sasha, I hated that. I honestly thought that
Sasha was a cool character.
Sasha was a cool character, and I hated how they killed her off.
Yeah, so
I'd rather like a big
and like how weird and unique flavor too. Yeah, to the show.
always hungry like me. Actually, more of you. I'm surprised you didn't eat those chips.
I have no idea how I lost weight this weekend.
I didn't mind Falco.
Yeah, I like Falco.
I like Falco.
They were a little slow on his uptake.
Yeah.
But I did like Falco. I thought that was a really cool arc, and his attached to Reiner.
Yeah.
His attachment to Reiner and like how he kind of like mimicked the character arc, but like in a smaller amount of time was very interesting.
Yeah, because he was
Having that
he
bit
was
of
the one talking to Aaron,
Yeah,
and that introduced him to Reiner.
yeah,
And then obviously Reiner's like, "Uh-oh, what are you doing?"
yeah. I really like that. I think that stuff was really cool because it made you think more. It made you think about like, oh, clearly there was a time skip, but what the hell is going on? Why is this different? There's some back and forth. I mean, again, they try to do the whole thing where it's like, oh, is Aaron the villain now? It's like, no, he wasn't. And
That's the thing I didn't like.
you knew he wasn't gonna be like you knew he wasn't gonna side with Zeke. You knew he wasn't gonna do X, Y, and Z. Like
But I feel like
they tried to
on
down
that
real hard.
That's my issue. That was my issue with it. They lingered on that way too much, where it's like now you're just ruining a main character for the sake of drama.
Well, what I do like about it though is I I like that though he never properly became the villain, like he did and he didn't. Uh, I like that they had him realize and be selfish in his goals. What I mean by that is he was not the protagonist who was looking to save the world or do the right thing. He was simply the protagonist who was looking to save his friends, and that's all he cared about.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. That is different. That is probably the most interesting and my favorite part of Attack on Titan as a whole is the fact that they chose to have Eren not be a protagonist in that sense, a classical protagonist anyway, and let him be a more regular, selfish human being.
Like I did enjoy it, but at the same time, I just wanted to see Eren as a good guy too. Like there was too much focus on him being the bad guy.
Oh, they tried to oversell it. Wait,
And that's what I didn't like. I really liked the first 3 seasons, and I wanted more of that Eren, which we didn't get until the end, like the very end.
I think the problem is they switched because it was over a time skip. It was too much of a 180, and though they tried really hard to sell it, they didn't actually sell anybody on it, so it didn't pay off the way they wanted to.
Because everyone knew at the end of the day, Eren's a good guy.
But yeah. So unless they either had to find a way to sell it better, and I mean they tried in their defense, um, or they had to just like cut that part a little bit shorter.
And kind of comparing it to Tokyo Ghoul again, I liked how they treated Kaneki's character more in the end. How like obviously same idea. Kaneki wanted to make sure that he was protecting his friends and family, his loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not his family, but you know what I mean. But at the same time, he did feel bad. Like whatever he did that might impact everyone else, like the humans and whatnot, he wanted to limit that as much as possible too.
Well, that's what I mean. And like Attack on Titan had cool concepts and stuff, and it definitely had like deep discussion points around it and meanings and intentions. But I just don't think it made you think the way a lot of the other ones do.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, this just, I don't know. Again, it's I see what it's trying to do,
Yeah.
but for me, it's just not doing it at all.
And the rumbling was sick. I thought the animation was unreal. It definitely like brought up some hype, but that being said, it almost went on a little too long.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So it's like the idea was cool, but they took so long where they're like, the rumbling's already happening, but like here's 50,000 other things we need to do.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the rumbling's there, and like I get it, they're giant, they're mindless, there are so many of them. They don't need to do anything other than walk, but like that's also really, really boring.
Yeah.
Is really, really boring. Like I get it, it's an unstoppable force, giant, huge. It doesn't like it's just mindless. It doesn't need to do anything great. Really boring. And then the battle, the fight to save it, also incredibly boring.
Well, it's not like you were even fighting anyone in particular. You were just fighting like these animated creatures that were in the past.
But you know, so much with that. With all the like the past Titan stuff. Like,
and realistically speaking, like they should have got wrecked by all those past Titans.
no, they would have.
There was how many of
The only argument that could be made is they wouldn't have they might not have been as strong because it did like, oh, they're not actually like real Titans.
Yeah.
Just blah, blah. But
the sheer volume.
okay,
Versus like what 5 humans that were fighting.
hear me out. This would have made such a cooler story for that part specifically if they had found the time, instead of wasting so much freaking time on trying to convince us that Eren's a bad guy, instead of wasting so much time on like the preparation of the rumbling and crap like that. If they had used some of that time to have like Zeke and Eren, or at least one of them, kind of like Avatar style, go into the memories of some of the past Titans because they're all linked and stuff like that. And then they had all these past Titans come up and fight the new guys as they're trying to defend Eren.
Where they're showing all the past Titans, you're like
that you met, and they actually get some like proper one-on-one combat back and forth. That would have been so cool. Like I would have sold on that.
It would have been more impactful.
That would have been crazy.
And again, kind of going back to the whole Levi thing with the Beast Titan. Again, he wasn't fighting the actual Beast Titan. He was fighting like the animated version of the Beast Titan.
Yeah,
because Zeke was already like in where was that other dimension called again?
I don't remember what it was called, but it was a void.
Yeah, so he was just in the void, and it was just the animated version. So you didn't really get a true conclusion to that rivalry at all.
Well, and even when you did, I think So his feelings around everything that happened involving the Beast Titan were written very well. It was very visceral. It was very raw. It was good. But I don't think there was ever going to be a lot of hype around him fighting the Beast Titan just because they made Levi too OP.
Yeah.
And it's like he just has to get to the Beast Titan. So it's really just like, oh, is he going to get there? It's not who's going to get.
I guess it also just shows, like, I think that where they were going with it is just the strength of the Ackermans.
Mm-hmm.
Like how they're almost like Titan. They have the strength of a Titan in a human.
But they didn't. They had more.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, where like they could have done what they did with Mikasa, where like Mikasa was crazy strong, but like, she wasn't going up and just absolutely owning the shit out of the Beast Titan.
At the end of the day, they still needed their gear to do what they needed to do.
Well, it's so did Levi, but the point is, like, again, anytime he actually got to the Beast Titan, he literally took him down in half a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Like, there's no suspense there. It's really the only suspense is how does he get to the Beast Titan?
Yeah. He has to fight his way through. That's the only.
But when he's like that fastest thing in the freaking universe, like
spins through all of them.
Yeah, the only thing is his gear gonna die. Like that's the only suspense. Like, does he have enough gear?
Yeah,
that's it. That's all you got. Like, if he does, you're like, okay, well, he just won.
I almost I don't want to kill him off, but I kind of wish they did kill him off at the end there. Because again, like, you was close to death, and then he still lives.
Yeah, it's like,
just give him that ending.
Well, I feel like they needed to do something like that, and they kind of tried to do it by like nerfing him a little bit, but they said they nerfed him and they really didn't, because he still just like did whatever the hell he wanted. They kind of needed that to let Mikasa take his mantle too, right? Like, I feel like there should have been more of a passing of the torch between those two, because it was kind of set up from the start. They're both Ackermans, they're both OP as hell, and then it just did it.
One kind of going back a bit again. One character I wish we had more of is Kenny.
Kenny. Which one was Kenny?
The one who looked after Levi.
What?
Remember, like, the third season, he worked for the government, and
I'm totally blanking on this guy. I rewatched the whole third season. Kenny. I know. I remember them wanting the name. No kidding. Actually, I liked Haji. Haji was cool. Haji was really cool. Oh yeah. Yeah, Kenny was really cool.
Yeah.
The relationship back and forth, that was cool. Like I said, Levi's backstory, they did really well.
Yeah.
I think that was the closest. Him and Rhino were the closest things you got to me caring about a character for sure. And it was because of like the way they explained like Rhino's like kind of like incompetence and is trying to hide that and all that stuff. Like the start of season 4, it really built Rhino's character entirely.
And they built up Armin a lot too in the end as well.
And then the way they did the Kenny and Levi stuff was really, really good as well. I feel like
if you had 3 Ackermans, then it'd just be not fair.
Yeah,
he remained a bad guy then.
Or they just didn't make them equals to the Titans. What would have been better is make them slightly less, only slightly,
and make them struggle a little more to be able to kill off a Titan.
At least a specialized one. I don't care if they one shot all the other guys, like, go nuts. But like the special Titans. Come on, man. Like, that kind of defeats the whole freaking purpose. Like, there's whatever. If they can destroy them in a one-on-one, the hell's the point?
Well, the other thing too is what was her name again? The one with the Hanji?
Haji, yeah. Haji was so cool. I liked Haji.
I liked Haji a lot too, but how at the end where she sacrificed herself, like killing off some of those
and she just starts like one-shotting a crapload of colossal Titans.
But then it's just like, why didn't all of them just try to do that?
I mean, there were like, wasn't there like tens of thousands of them?
I don't think there was that.
I'm pretty sure they said I don't remember what the stat was, but they definitely brought up a stat being like, to build the walls you would need like thousands of colossal Titans.
Yeah, I guess
you got to remember they're literally trampling the entire world.
Yeah,
just by walking from one point.
Yeah, I guess they're just, I don't know. I wanted more from that. Just them walking like
it was funny because like you remember when they first talked about how do we defeat the colossal Titan? His neck is so thick we can't cut through it and all this. And Haji just goes
But mind, she had like
not all the time. She went down to them pretty early, and then she's still chopping them down.
Yeah.
No, we don't know if they died or anything, but still,
I think she did take them down because she cut their neck and they fell.
We saw them fall, but what I was saying is we don't know how they could have gotten back up.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, based on what we saw, they probably just got trampled by the ones behind them. But
yeah.
I don't know. Again, I don't have too much more to say on it, to be honest. Like, it was it was good. The animation was good. The premise was good. Some of the characters I liked. I think everything just kind of fell a little short for me. Like,
What do you think of the actual ending? Where not so much the part where
Mikasa's under the tree and stuff like that.
Yeah, that part.
What I think about that part?
Yeah.
I was trying to. I honestly don't have an opinion, and I feel like part of that is because I think Mikasa is one of the characters they did the dirtiest in terms of just not properly developing the character.
Yeah.
She was kind of just a ghost that you were supposed to care about.
Even with Aaron's death in the end, you didn't get a lot from her.
That was fucked up. Sorry.
Yes.
Like, whoa. Okay, that's where we're going with this.
Just kiss a head.
Not even just a head. Like, a head that you just chopped off of your loved one, and he's also, like, deformed as hell.
Would you rather if she kissed him before chopping off his head?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I think that would have been better.
I think
or just don't kiss him.
Both are kind of gross.
Yeah,
At least that one, it's
they make
not
a little more sense than let me chop you up first.
a little, like, necrophilia there.
Maybe she's into that.
Yeah, man, whoa.
But
they just didn't make you care about her. So, like,
yeah,
anything like that.
I
I
felt like,
wanted to care, but I didn't.
yeah, so I felt like the end scenes was like what happens after the whole rumbling and everything like that. I wish I had more from it. They kind of just showed flashes, and they're building the city, and things kind of go back to where it used to. Like it just implies that it's going to repeat itself over and over.
Yeah, exactly.
Which then kind of ruins the whole
We got-
story. It's like, oh, it's going to happen again. What was the point?
Well, didn't they get rid of Titans?
Yeah, but there was that situation where
It's like people are gonna fight each other over and over again. That's normal.
wasn't there that worm thing still? Then they found it there.
I don't remember, man. I know this that part, but I'm pretty sure they said there was like the potential for Titans were gone.
Okay, maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, I didn't find it that impactful.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I think all the reason these points that, like, I don't know about you. Again, that part I didn't care, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I think it was just that there wasn't enough buy-in. Like, things weren't developed enough to get proper buy-in from us. Again, like, Mikasa was kind of a shadow the whole time. Like, there were lots of times where you were supposed to care about her, but realistically, she was just a shadow that did some really cool stuff.
I feel like
More often than
I
not.
feel like in the end, Armin almost became the main character because again, they're painting Eren as the bad guy. Mikasa didn't really do much, and Armin definitely had a lot more born with his plot, which I liked a lot.
Yeah.
Again, like for the first 3 seasons, you're like, damn, this kid's kind of annoying.
I would have liked a lot more if they took half of what they did with Armin, like half the time they spent on Armin, and spent it on developing Mikasa a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if they had done that, stuff like that last scene would have had a lot more payoff. Like, I like the arc Armin went through, but it did seem like a bit too Armin heavy for me at the same time.
Fair.
So if they had just taken at least even some of that time and maybe care about some other character,
like another character, and that I think that's another issue is they try to introduce all these other characters, then took away from the main characters. Like we were talking about Gap.
Oh, they spent way too much time.
Yelena, another one I couldn't stand either.
Yeah, I did not need that. Like, introduce the characters, that's fine, but like, it almost felt like a different show.
Yeah,
like they spent way too much time introducing.
And the whole rebellion thing, like I don't know. I understand the point of it, but it was boring for me.
The rebellion, again, it's one of those things that just took too long. Like,
yeah,
everything seemed. They spent too much time in the wrong places. Like, they spent too much time trying to do a bunch of things and never really panning out or fulfilling any of them properly, in my opinion. But that's it. It's just, I think
it's the red hair guy again.
Fuck,
I can't remember his name.
I am the wrong person.
But I also don't like how they changed. Like he had such a turn as well.
I would have really liked it. Like, if you look at the beginning and the end of him, it makes sense. I really like it. Like, the first time you're like really seeing things with him, is when his whole battalion just gets slaughtered, right? Like, that's the first really big thing that happens with him. And then the end point where it's like, okay, he's scarred. He doesn't want this ever to happen again. Screw all these guys who did this to all of my friends and essentially family. That makes sense. The problem is there was no middle.
There was no middle. Plus, I would appreciate it more if he was a little more calm in the whole process, where he just kind of does seem crazy all of a sudden.
He literally goes from
his character.
He literally goes from an NPC to just like main villain and like that again. And there's like you get it, but you didn't grow with it.
Yeah.
It just flipped the.
You could have built that so that you had some attachment to his character and you see the purpose behind it. We're like, I see what he's doing. I'm kind of on his side. But in that situation, like, dude, that's crazy.
All in, it sounds like I might have convinced you more to my side of thinking with Attack on Titan, in the sense that it's not that it's bad. It's just that they had cool things, they had good things, but they just didn't get enough buy-in from them. Like, they didn't handle them as best they could. There could have been more buy-in, and then you would have got much more payoff out of the same things.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely, again, I didn't say I didn't like after the time.
Now the defense comes.
But it's just all those little things bothered me where I like the flow of the first season to third season. Like, it just,
Yeah.
the characters stay true to themselves where the
fourth season was like, it was super slow and then rushed.
Yeah. So I think that's what I didn't like. Again, like saying about Eren, his complete 180.
Didn't they spend like forever on the fourth season too?
Oh.
Like, they did it in like little parts.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 3 seasons.
I was so glad I didn't watch that as
They made one season like 3 years or something like that, or 4 years.
Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't watch that as a release, because in my mind, it probably released like just the story of the new guys, like the kids and stuff. You wait a year, get the next.
Like, so I read it, so I wasn't too butthurt about it. But in the end, like, you watch something, you only watch a few episodes, and it's like, come on, like, what are you doing here?
I know a lot of people shit on. The last thing I need to say about it actually is, I know a lot of people shit on the whole. Or I shouldn't say a lot. A couple people I know really are like, oh, I don't really like the way that they're like, oh, the whole other world is still there, and this was just this island, blah blah blah. I actually don't mind that. Like, I think.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. I've been told that like, it was handled really lazy and stuff like that. No, I didn't mind it. I don't
have an issue with that at all.
Yeah, cool. I thought it was fine. Yeah. They built it properly.
Well, you see that even like modern day with like certain cults and whatnot. They raise people in like a
in isolation.
Yeah, isolation. They have no idea what's going on because, like, they're limiting the amount of literature and everything you have access to. So same thing there. So it stays true to what's actually going on in the world as well.
Yeah, I think it was fine. I have no problem.
I thought it was cool. And again, the whole culture shock of like, oh, it isn't just water out there, and like there's actual like the society that's more modernized, and they actually hate us. And
yeah, and like realistically, there needed to be something other than just the rest of the world, because the whole thing with Armin and wanting to see the rest of the world, and Eren being like, yeah, we'll see it together.
Yeah.
Like, there had to be more than just like fucking mountains and nature and that stuff, because there's no way that you're going to spend a bunch of time being like, hey, let's look at the Niagara Falls. Let's look at it. Like, it's not going to happen. So there needed to be something out there to kind of like be like, oh, there's to just like one thing to encompassing, be like, oh, there's this whole extra world. And the easiest way to do that is how to be populated.
I think would have been cool is if they didn't even have the time skip, and they kind of went right into like, oh, let's figure out what is going on.
Yeah, I think the time skip was lazy. Yeah, for sure. Like, there's lots of time skips that are needed. I do think that was lazy. I think it was
One Piece time skip, great.
That's the shonen training time skip, bro. You can't. A training time skip has to happen to a degree. It doesn't need to be years, but it has to happen, because otherwise you're just seeing someone do push-ups every day for 4 months.
Where in this situation, it was like, how long was it?
It was like 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. That's too long.
And I get it. It was them trying to like time skip like the modernization and building the train and stuff. Realistically, you could have gotten away without doing that. Y'all got Titans. Like,
yeah.
And there was so little fighting that actually happened on Paradis that like it didn't need to be modernized. Like, realistically, what happened with the whole train system? It just got blown up. Like, nothing. There was nothing that happened with it. What happened with like naval warfare? Nothing. And like, what happened with the plane? The only thing that happened with the plane was they used it to do something they didn't think they'd have to do, which is catch up with Eren.
Yeah.
So it's like they didn't need any of that. They could have literally just gone in, and if they had, instead of like, okay, imagine instead of doing that, they build into, so they don't do a time skip. They do still take like the ship, the one ship or two, and get the information. They find out about those people, and then instead of going into the modernization of Paradis, they immediately go into trying to figure out doing recon on the rest of the world and getting ready to do the big rebellion that they do with the like the Warhammer Titan and stuff like that. They just kind of like building up to all of that happening. And they show you all of that happening. And then while they do that, they show Eren slowly like slipping into like being a little bit more evil or whatever, based on like he starts getting more glimpses from the future and stuff like that. You know, Assassin's Creed style. It doesn't really make sense to the audience, but it slowly starts changing this character. Like that's a way you could have also gotten more buy-in to making like, oh shit, he's actually going evil. Like this is actually happening.
Yeah, I think if they had some more content there, I would have enjoyed the time skip more.
Yeah, I mean they did the time skip on the justification that it needed to be modernized, and it didn't. So it was again lazy.
Where would you rank it?
Like, what's its power scale?
Yeah.
So what's its power scale? We never actually clarified what the top of the power scale is.
True.
Top of the power scale is over 9,000.
Over 9,000. Okay.
Yeah, I would give it like, okay, so if not over 9,000, so just to clarify for everyone, our power scale is going to be 1,000 to 10,000, but instead of 10,000, we're just going to say over 9,000.
Yeah.
So if you say just 9,000, it's essentially a 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just so we're clear on that.
Or we can just do 1 out of 10.
No, no, we cannot.
All right.
Not if we're calling it power scaling. Anyway, I would say in that case it's like 6,500, like a 6,500.
Okay.
I want to say a 7, and I would have said like probably a 7.5 even before this conversation. But the more I've talked about it, the more I'm like
down a bit.
The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, you know what, you really did. Like I came into even this conversation not entirely knowing why it never clicked for me, but as I've been talking about it on this, I'm like, okay, now I know why it didn't click for me, because they didn't they had a lot of good stuff, but they didn't actually earn that stuff.
Yeah.
There was no buy-in. It wasn't built properly, or it was like kind of skipped or lazy or time spent in the wrong area.
Like, I would say you kind of talked me down as well. And one thing I just clued into is when I watched Attack on Titan, I didn't watch a whole lot of other animes at that time.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
So, like, I wasn't aware of what else is going on out there. So I was like, oh, this is different. This is cool, unique. So I'm so used to Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Where now that I've watched, like, so many more animes, read so many more mangas, I see what the good things they're doing and where Attack on Titan lacks. So that being said, like I probably before would have given like an 8,000. Now maybe a 7,000.
See, I'm glad you brought that up, because I should have brought that up too. I've had that conversation so many times where it's huge fan base, and again, I like it, I enjoy it. I was never in love with it. I don't hate it. Huge fan base, but so many people that I know who are like, Attack on Titan is my favorite anime, or like top 3 even. It was their first.
Yeah.
Or it was close to their first.
Yeah.
And that's always, there's going to be a nostalgia feel to that. But like you said, the other thing is, if it's your first, you just end up getting so encapsulated in it that you're like, I don't necessarily see the faults. This is just hype. And that is what, Attack on Titan is basically just continued hype. I'll give it that.
And that's what I say with even Dragon Ball. Like Dragon
100%.
It'll always be my number one, but at the same time, if I'm truly ranking it, is it a 10,000?
No.
Is it a 9,000? No.
Well,
is it close?
And I think the big difference on that for me is Dragon Ball's not trying to be something it isn't, whereas Attack on Titan felt like it was trying to be very smart. But for me, it wasn't. I feel like it didn't earn that. Whereas Dragon Ball, like, let's be real, Dragon Ball knows that his lore has plot holes, and it does not give a shit.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball knows that we're only there for training arcs, fights, and transformations, and it's okay with that.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan was like, this dystopic, Holocaust, Civil War, philosophical, monster mash, gory, violent thing that it was trying to be, and it was, but not to the capacity that I felt it was trying to do.
I feel like it's a good introductory anime for some people.
Yeah, I agree. I can
those people who would never really watch anime, but they don't want to get into the shonen side of things, because obviously that can be a little too much for some people.
Yeah.
I feel like Attack on Titan is that one I'd usually recommend. It's like, hey, you want something like a thriller kind of vibe to it.
Death Note almost every time.
That's also another good one.
Almost any time someone's like, I really don't like anime.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. We will have like a segment about some time about like how to get your friend into anime when they're not into anime.
Yeah.
But my first little hint to all of that, ask what genre of TV or movies they watch.
Yeah.
That's step 1.
Oh, for sure.
But usually that's a pretty safe bet, because it has a little bit of like supernatural. Well, I mean, a lot of supernatural stuff, but in a more realistic way. It's a modern day, all these things. So it's easier for people to kind of get a grasp on and not fall behind. But it's interesting enough, and it's very Sherlocky in that how it does things. Sherlock and Moriarty.
And I know I was late on Full Metal Alchemist, but like that's another one I would be like, yo, if you want to check
Yeah,
it
Full Metal Alchemist is great.
a lot of mystery to it. It's not just about power-ups or like magic in that case.
Well, what's important about especially Death Note and Full Metal Alchemist is they're not crazy long.
No.
So that's really helpful.
You don't have to invest too much time into it.
So yeah, I mean, 6,500. You say 7.5. Sorry, 7,000.
7,000. Yeah. Okay,
So 6,750. Yeah, that's its power level. We will be updating my anime list, and we will give it the median of what we decided here. If the best we can, if we have to round up, it's going to be a 7. But end of the day, that's where it sits for me. I will watch the movie. I'm curious to see the animation. I'm sure it's going to be epic.
Yeah, from what I heard, they probably up the animation a bit. They also added a couple scenes.
If they have a movie budget, I guarantee you it'll be wild.
Oh, dude, they've been killing it in Japan with those animated movies now.
Yeah, and
Demon Slayer.
I know people can crap on Nappa for season 4, but overall, Nappa does a fantastic job. I mean, I'm not going to say they're a great company to work for, but
I think it's just people aren't used to that style. Like, I think overall it was greatly animated. It's just different.
It's kind of like Bethesda with like the Elder Scrolls games. You know what I mean? Where it's like no one's going to argue that every time one of those games drops, it is like top tier for whatever generation it's around. It's definitely like an industry leader and looks amazing and all this stuff. But it's like, would you want to work there? No, not at all.
No.
But I mean, hey, the product looks great.
Yeah.
No matter how many people died for it.
But yeah, so that's our Attack on Titan. People died for it. I just caught on to that. Yeah, so that's our Attack on Titan review. Hopefully next week we'll do something a little different, not just a season review.
Yeah.
Oh, we have one season. We're gonna do the ping pong, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna try to do a couple of things, right? We got to figure out where I want you to do ping pong. Please watch ping pong.
I'll do that this.
I'm gonna preface this again, just in case anyone watches ping pong the animation between now and then. Ping pong the animation will definitely have some 2 frame per second stuff we're gonna talk about. Like not even a question.
It's only like 10 episodes, you said?
10 or 11.
Okay,
That's like a few hours to really bust through it all. But I watched it because it was super hyped, and the first couple episodes were kind of like a why am I watching this situation? But by the end of it, it hits somewhere. Like it hit me deep, and I was like, okay. I'm not going to more than that, but like
looking for
what I would say is if you're gonna watch it, commit to watching the whole thing. It's small enough. You're not gonna want to after seeing the first episode or 2, but commit to watching the whole thing. Real quick before we sign off, we will have a second anime next week to watch with. We're still kind of deciding how we want to do that right now, as we're kind of in the middle of seasons. Lots of crazy stuff coming next season, like the Dan and Kaiju Umbrella. That's
have you watched
crazy.
Dan?
Yeah,
however you pronounce it.
Dan. But yes, I have it. So it's unique. I like it.
But people don't like it.
Really?
I was talking to another
that's fair.
Big anime fan, like a friend of mine. And he's not a fan of it, but
I mean, I could see it being overhyped, but I like it. It tries a little too hard to be unique sometimes, but overall I like it.
Yeah.
It's different. Manga wise, Solo Leveling Ragnarok, I'm caught up. Kagurabachi, I'm a couple chapters behind, but again, that's always fantastic. As of time of recording, I'm not fully caught up on One Piece, but that chapter dropping very. I don't know. To be technically, it should be dropped to tomorrow, but I don't know if it got a leak.
No One Piece this week.
No One Piece this week. Okay.
I'm caught up.
I'm caught up on One Piece.
Yeah,
that's looking crazy like always.
Shujin X. I need to catch up with that one. If you're a Tokyo Ghoul fan, highly recommend it.
Okay.
Same creator. Honestly, super good. And it's not the same as Tokyo Ghoul either. You would think, like, oh, maybe they're gonna just copycat it, but no, it's its own unique story.
And with that, that's this week's chapter for Anime Guide and the anime side story. So just remember, if you're on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, leave us some comments. If you're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, give us a little review. It really helps us out, lets us know what you guys like, what you don't like, so that way we can better our material. If you have any recommendations for shows that are either coming up or even older ones that have happened that you want us to go through, we're definitely thinking about doing some like more of those ping pong animation ones. It's like secondary anime reviews where they're like one-off 10 episodes, really highly rated. Or honestly, if you're like, this is like just watching a dumpster fire. I'm cool to sit through that too, just for the experience and to talk about it afterwards. I've definitely had that before. FLCL, the original. I know a lot of people love it. I could talk about that one for years.
I haven't
That's like
that one yet.
there's very few episodes. Maybe that's the one we'll do after a big bug.
I'm worried.
That was rough. Yeah. Oh, that was rough. But yeah, let us know if you have any snacks for us to try. It can be from anywhere around the world. The weirder, the better. We'll probably regret saying that. But yeah, let us know, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, have a good one.